Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jerry, and this is another addition to my backyard garden project. I have not updated my garden project for, I think, all of this year, or maybe back into late 2012. I had filmed a few things here and there, but quite frankly was rather disappointed in my spring and summer garden. I couldn't get anything to grow or take root. We had several heat waves come through. Pretty much everything either wouldn't grow or it just died. The tomatoes, the potatoes, the corn, what else did I have? Okra, squash, green beans, everything. Nothing would grow, nothing would survive, and so I finally just gave up, ripped it all out, and waited for fall, and that's what I'm into now. This is late October 2013. The year is coming to a close, and I've got a few things here on this first tier. The other tiers up there I'll go into on another day, but I wanted to start here with this. This is peppermint that Katie and I brought back from Point Reyes, which is north of San Francisco, and I had kept it in a bucket, 3-gallon bucket, for a couple of years, and about a year ago I took it out and transplanted it here, and it has started to take over. In fact, it's poking through the retaining wall here. It's quadrupled in size just in the last year, so it's doing really well. I've got some Egyptian onions here that I planted last year. They had already gone out. The heads had gone out on them, and these are a few that are left. I'll probably pull these off and transplant them later. Some boysenberries. I don't remember where we got these, but they seem to be doing okay as long as they get adequate water. More peppermint. This is an East Coast transplant. It came from Pennsylvania, and there are some distinct differences between this peppermint and the other. There's also a basil plant down back there that had volunteered itself. It's gone to seed. The leaves on this are larger. This is a taller plant, and depending on what light you're getting it into, if you look real close, the back side of this has kind of a little fuzz on it. And then, of course, these seed heads come out fairly regularly on all of this. And this other one, again, a little different. Darker leaves, darker green. More slender leaves, or sharper leaves, I guess. They're a little smaller, and nothing. When you turn these over, there's no fuzz of any kind on the back side. This is completely void of the little hairs that are on the other. But other than that, they taste and smell the same. I have a few trees here that are going to be transplanted when it turns cold enough. I've got some kale here, and some broccoli, some cauliflower, and some peas. That pea is called Green Arrow. It's doing very well. It seems to like it there. Lots of blooms, lots of pods setting on. So we'll see in a couple of weeks how good they taste and how well it's going to continue to grow into the cold weather. This is a volunteer potato. I've got several of them here and a couple up above. It's from my February planting. These are ones that I had dug out and I didn't get all of, so I just decided to leave them and see what they'll do. The kale is very easy to grow. It doesn't seem to suffer from the insect problems that other members of the cabbage family do, like the cauliflower will and the other broccoli. This broccoli, I'll get to in a minute, I haven't had any problems with insects on it yet, but the only problem I have with the kale is sometimes I'll find the squash beetles on them, and I just pick them off by hand. But I don't have a problem with aphids. I don't have a problem really with insects like the little inchworms coming along and devouring the leaves. You can see on this one, this has been eaten a little bit. The broccoli really suffers. Again, it's up there, and I've had to go through and pick off worms by hand pretty much every other day. And as it gets bigger, I anticipate that all of these are going to have some aphid problems. But this broccoli, this is an heirloom broccoli whose name I don't recall at the moment. It's doing very well. These are very slender, dark green leaves, very thin. I don't mean slender, I mean thinner compared to these. These are much thicker. These are almost paper thin. And this is the largest one, and it's got a floret that's sitting on right in here, right in the center. So I've got some diatomaceous earth on this that is pretty effective at keeping the insects off. And I've dusted all of them, including the other broccoli, but still the worms seem to not really care. But I'm going to dust that eventually and make sure that I don't have an aphid problem. But this leaf is huge. Again, it's a darker color. This is a fast-growing broccoli. It's supposed to take 60 days to produce, and it's been about that. So I'll see here in a couple of weeks how things go with all of this. I've got a pineapple plant, and this is a top that I got earlier in the year. I want to say, I don't know, March or April or something like that. And it was a little tiny thing, maybe 4 inches tall. So I put it in a pot, kept watering it, and it sprouted, and I've since transplanted it to this pot. So, you know, it's a good foot tall and probably a foot across. The struggle now is we're getting into colder weather, and I set them out during the day so they'll get some sun, and then I bring them in at night so they don't suffer from the lower temperatures. I've got another one here. It hasn't completely died back yet. There's still some green here, but there's no new growth coming out from the middle, so I'm not sure if this is going to make it yet. But you know, like I said, all of this has remained green I guess it's been about 3 weeks ago that I planted this. So it might live. Maybe it just needs a little more warmth, but we'll see as time goes by. I've got some carrots here. I've got 3 different kinds of carrots. I'm not going to go into naming them, but one of them is, I think, an atomic red. And this one, I think this is the one that's kind of shaped like a golf ball. I've got some radishes over here, some more peas back there. These are young radishes. This is an ordinary run-of-the-mill average size radish, and I've got some here that I had planted probably 2 months ago. I pulled most of them out of the ground. I wanted to leave these here to go to seed, and I planted more, and they've sprouted up just great. I've got some green beans, and I had huge trouble with 2 different plantings of green beans earlier in the year. These have done fine. I planted them around the middle of August, and they're setting on blooms. And I've got some more over here that actually has little tiny green beans on them. Another one there. So they're doing good. They seem to like this. I still think I have some timing issues with my planting. I probably could have gone another 2 weeks earlier with most of this and still been okay. I've got more carrots here. I've got more carrots over here, and then I've got some parsnips. And then I've got, this is one of several sunflowers that volunteered from some sunflowers that we planted here last year, and the seeds just fell off into this area. I let them grow. They really attracted bees and other pollinators, and even the hummingbirds liked them. This is starting to die back, though there are still some good flowers here, and even some young ones that haven't opened up yet. This was the largest. The others were not even half as big in diameter as this. But I just left. I'm sure there's tons of seeds here. Every once in a while the birds still come and peck off of them, and the hummingbirds too. I left it because it's just it's a good source of food for the finches and the hummingbirds, and it keeps the pollinators coming back to this area. So I'll leave that until it completely dies, and then I'll finally take it out. And then one last thing I've got here, I've got some other radishes. This is called Crimson Giant, and I've also got, this is not a radish, this is a romaine lettuce that I've planted, and I've got 2, 4, 6 or 7 or 8 of these, but I've got more young radishes that I planted in through here, and they've sprouted up, and again it's called Crimson Giant, I think. And you know, most radishes, like, go back to these. Look at that. You can see my finger. That goes to about 1.5 knuckles, the diameter of that radish of my finger. And then this one radish, not all of the ones over here, because there's a couple back there that haven't gotten quite as big, but look at this. This is the size of a softball. I've never grown radishes before, so I'm not quite sure what to expect overall, but I'm just going to leave this, let it go to seed, and if they get this big and they're still actually worth eating, or even half this big and they're still worth eating, you wouldn't need very many of these depending on what you do with them. I made some radish soup, but that recipe needs a little finagling. It was okay, but it was nothing to write home about. So that's it for this first tier. I will poke through the other tiers above on another day. Yeah, I have half a dozen other things planted up there that I want to go over. But so far I'm happy with this. I've never done a fall garden before, so I didn't know what to expect, and everything's turning out quite nicely, you know, barring that the broccoli and the cauliflower just flat out don't do anything. But you know, get a little ray of hope right in here, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.